Morning, everyone. It's so good to see you. So thankful that you are here to worship with us today. For you single people out there, what is your what are the ideal qualities that you're looking for in a spouse? When you think about who you want to marry, what do you think about? Um, I think a lot of people may never actually say it, but because they don't want to seem shallow. But what they're looking for is someone that is very good looking. I mean, I look at Brad Pitt. Honestly, I'm a straight male, right? I look at Brad Pitt and I'm like, man, he is a good-looking guy. Actually, I looked at, I was trying to figure out, which picture of Brad Pitt to use. And every one of them are good. He looks really good. He's a good-looking guy. So good looks is important. We may not say it out loud, but good looks is important. I think Jim Carrey is hilarious. Some of his movies, right? And so people often say they're looking for someone that's funny, that makes them laugh. It kind of helps the time go by well. Or maybe you're looking for someone that's hardworking. This is Bob the Builder, right? He's a hardworking guy. The thing is, we think about this, and the reason why I bring this up is because Jesus talks about the church, and he tells us that the church is his bride. Right? The church is his bride. And so as we are reading through these 7 letters, we are reading the letter that the groom is writing to his bride. And I think that's very significant. I'll be honest with you. When I first started this, I was thinking, okay, so bride, right? So I started to Google beautiful women. I was like, wait a second. Right? This is problematic. Now I'm going to delete. I'm going to get myself in trouble with that one. Well, I want us to think about the bride of Christ. As we think on the letters that were written, where we get the letter to Ephesus, we started off there. And Ephesus was a hard-working church that was full of duty, but little love. Right? They were the church, if you remember, that lost their first love. They were a hard-working church. They did what needed to be done, but the romance was gone. The love was gone. Then there was Smyrna. And they were going through such a difficult time, so much persecution, that Jesus had nothing bad to say about them. He was just like, keep going. You'll be okay. Right? He just wanted to encourage them and let them know, look, I know that you're suffering for me, and I just want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that I'm here for you. Then we get to Pergamum, another hardworking church. But their eyes and their minds begin to wander. There's Thyatira, and they are tolerating sin. Right? They are in full-fledged cheat mode. Sardis, they look good. They were the beautiful church. But they were dead. No actual life. Their hearts were elsewhere completely. And then we get to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, is faithful. That's the letter that we get today about Philadelphia. So here is Jesus' letter. To the angel in the church of Philadelphia write, the words of the Holy One, the true one, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, who shuts and no one opens. Now here is Jesus saying, this is the word. These are my words. And as he writes these words, he begins to explain who he is. He is the Holy One, the true one. These words that he uses, holy and true, are words that are reserved only for God. So as he is expressing, I am holy and true, he is making it very clear that he is proclaiming his deity. Right? So if there is any question about whether or not Jesus ever spoke of himself as though he were God, it's very clear in these words. When he says, the Holy One, the true one, these are words that are resolved that are reserved only for God. And so he says, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, who shuts and no one opens. And once again, he's making this reference to the book of Isaiah, chapter 22, verse 22. It says, I will place on his shoulder the key to the house of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. What he's saying is, I am the fulfillment of prophecy. I am the Messiah that you have been waiting for. I'm the one, the anointed one that you've been waiting for. He's making clear his identity, but also his authority and his power. He's saying, I'm the one who holds the key, so that when I open a door, no one will be able to shut it. And when I shut the door, no one will be able to open it. He is proclaiming divine authority and absolute authority. What door are we talking about? I think that it's clear that we're talking about the door to heaven. And what he's saying is, I am the way to heaven. Right? What he's proclaiming is that Jesus is the only way to heaven, to have this deep and true relationship with God the Father. What he's proclaiming in his absolute authority is his sovereignty over life and death, his sovereignty over heaven and hell. Right? What he's saying is, I'm the one that opens it. Right? And our brother Don just mentioned, he said it in his prayer. What could possibly separate us from the love of God? What he's saying is, when God has chosen you, nothing you have done will ever separate you from that love. Nothing that goes around you, that goes on around you, can ever separate you from that love. When Jesus opens the door, no one will shut it. It's so important for us to recognize that. That your salvation rests in Jesus' hands and not in your own. That Jesus is calling on us to be faithful because he is the one that holds salvation in his hands. But he also says, what he shuts, no one can open. And I'm reminded of the story of 10 virgins who were waiting for the bridegroom. 5 of them were ready. They had their lamps filled with oil and prepared. The other 5 said, well, we're not going to be ready. We don't have enough. And so they go off to buy more. And as they are off to buy more, the bridegroom comes and he shuts the door. Let us in, they say. And he says, I don't know you. There is a time, brothers and sisters, when it will be too late. There will be a time when no matter how much knocking we do, no matter how much pleading and begging we do, it will be too late. When the door is shut, it is shut for good. But today, right now, the door is open. The opportunities are there. The Lord is calling on us, even today, to see that door open and to respond. So he says this, I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. What he's saying is, Philadelphia, I know that you are not a great church. I know that you're not a big church. I know that you are not a church that people will point to and say, that's an exemplary church. That's a church that we want to be like. And yet, in this letter, he does not say a single disparaging thing. He does not rebuke the church. He says, I know that you have but little power. I know that your reputation may not be great. But you have kept my word and have not denied my name. And so this door is wide open for them. It's because of your faithfulness. This door is wide open. You've kept my word. You haven't denied me. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews but aren't and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they shall learn that I have loved you. Remember those words, synagogue of Satan? They were there in Smyrna. The other letter where Jesus did not rebuke the church, but only encouraged. See, the synagogue of Satan, we believe, was an actual synagogue filled with cultural Jews, but not true Jews. Filled with people who grew up in the synagogue, but never quite got it, never quite understood it. And so, what they did was they accused. What they did was they looked at the Christian church and accused them of heresy. Because they didn't quite get it, they instead began to persecute those who did. They were the synagogue of Satan, who said they were Jews, but they never quite lived out circumcision of the heart. They were Jews by name, but not true Jews of the heart. Right? I'm afraid that in the modern day church also, there are so many who are Christian by name, grew up in the church, have a heritage. We look back and say, that my whole family, we're all Christians. But when it comes down to it, within our own hearts, whether or not we actually have a relationship with Jesus Christ, that's a whole nother story. Some of us don't even realize that we are a part of the synagogue of Satan. But we make fun of, and we say, oh, those fanatical Christians, I have a hard time with them. Those churches that require so much of their Christians. Why can't we just go to church, pay an offering, and then be on our way? There are people who have that sort of mindset, who just want the easy version of Christianity because they are Christians by name. Right? You've heard of them before, those who go to church on Christmas and Easter. Right? Someone said that they are CEOs, right? Christmas, Easter only. Others have said that they're Creasters. Right? Literally, their relationship with God comes down to an obligation twice a year. But the truth is, for many of us, we're not so different. We say, well, twice a year. But for many of us, it's just once a week. Right? The only relationship that we have with God only comes up 9:45, we pop in. And then as soon as worship is over, back to my life again. And the reality is, that's not so different. The synagogue of Satan, those who were Jews by name only, not so different from Christians who are Christians by name only. So he says, behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you. They will realize that all of their lies and all their accusations were not true. He's saying, I will defend you. I will be the one to reveal the reality to them. So in Isaiah 54, verse 17, it says, no weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication from me declares the Lord. What he's saying is, I'm going to be the one that will vindicate you, the true church. I will be the one that will make sure that every false accusation against you will be refuted. And so, even when within you face opposition, remain faithful. Even when it's difficult for you to hold on to your faith because people are making false accusations against you, remain faithful. Because I will be your vindication. He says, this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. You know what he's saying? He's saying this is what happens to people who are true believers. It's something that you should expect because that's what is common to believers. There will be people who make false accusations against you. There will be people who will stand in opposition against you. But I will be your vindication. No matter what they accuse you of, I will refute them. And no weapon that is fashioned against you will succeed. God is our defense. He says, because you have kept my word about patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world to try those who dwell on the earth. That passage is a little bit of a question mark. Right? We're not exactly sure what Jesus is referring to about this trial that's coming on the whole world. And yet, we know this. God will keep them from harm. Some have pointed to it and said that's about the rapture. I don't know if that's true. But what I do know is this. God's promise is that he will hold you and keep you in the time of trial. When difficulty comes, and it comes to all of us, what he's saying is, I will be the one to protect you, to shield you, and to guard you. I will keep you from the hour of trial. What he's calling on us is to this. Be patient and have endurance. It's difficult. I mean, this whole year has been difficult. Some of us want to just give up. Some of us, are so tired of clicking play on YouTube. Just having to leave right after worship. Not being able to fellowship and actually commune with our brothers and sisters. It's been difficult. So some of us are like, you know what, just call me when it's over. Let me know when it's safe to come back to church, and that's when I'll start my relationship with God again. Be patient. Have endurance. Fight through it. Overcome. Because God is with you now. He is here helping you to overcome. So overcome. He's keeping you, protecting you, watching guard over you. He gives us this promise. I'm coming soon. I'm coming soon. That patient perseverance, just hold on to it because I'm coming soon. Hold fast to what you have so that no one may seize your crown. The one who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. To the one who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. You know what he's saying? He's saying when you overcome, It's like a pillar in the church. Philadelphia was known for earthquakes. And so these pillars were important. They were the ones that were holding up the church in time of earthquake. We have some pillars in our church that we're so thankful for. He's calling on us, each of us, to hold on with patient endurance, to hold fast, knowing that Jesus is returning soon. Be that pillar of our church. That when everything else is shaky, that our pillars would stand strong. Those who serve as deacons, as life group leaders, those who serve as committee head leaders. During this difficult time, I know it's been so hard and we've been kind of like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to serve. There's so many restrictions and so many things that we can't do. I want to encourage you. Be patient. Have endurance. Hold tight. Be that pillar. Keep on looking for opportunities. Keep on serving. Keep on giving of yourself. Because even though it's difficult and right now it feels like this earth is shaky ground, the church, we, Antioch Church Embrace, we stand firm in Jesus Christ because of you. Be that pillar. What does it mean to conquer? In 1 John chapter 5, verses 4 and 5, we get these words. For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world. Our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? What is it? What is it? It's faith. Right? Faithfulness is the victory that we're talking about. This is what it means when he says conquerors. That we hold on to our faith. We don't allow doubt to creep in. We don't allow our minds or our hearts to wander or to go elsewhere looking for salvation in some other source. But we turn to God Almighty through Jesus Christ Himself, knowing that He alone is our salvation. Who is it that overcomes the world? The one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. It's faith. What it takes for us to be that pillar is faith. Faithfulness. Never shall he go out of it. And I will write on him the name of my God, the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He's saying, I will make you this pillar, and this pillar will be fashioned permanently in the city of God. He's saying, I'm going to give you these incredible privileges of being a pillar, making it obvious for all to see that you are sharing in the glory of God when the time comes. You will be a permanent fixture. Finally, he says, he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He says, listen. Listen. Hear these words. And this is the way that he ends all of these letters. He says, he who has an ear, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. What he's saying is, open your heart to it. Have faith. Be faithful. What good would it be if you marry Brad Pitt and he cheats on you? What good would it be if you marry Jim Carrey and his heart is elsewhere? What good would it be if you married Bob the Builder? And his mind and his eyes were always wandering. What is it that makes a good spouse? Faithfulness. I mean, it's not one of those things that people put on lists, really, right? What they're looking for. But it probably is the most essential element of what a good spouse is. Faithfulness. Jesus writes this letter to the church, and he has not a single bad thing to say about them. Even though they were a small church, a weak church, what he commends is simple. Faithfulness. The way that I would define faithfulness in my marriage is I don't desire anyone besides my wife. I do my best to honor her and to bless her every day of my life. The way that we define faithfulness within the church is the same. I don't desire any other God besides you, God. I don't believe or trust any other God besides you, Lord. And my heart's desire, more than anything else, is to honor you, to worship you, to live for you every day of my life. Faithfulness. It's not glamorous, but it's essential. And ultimately, that's what being married to Jesus is all about. Let's pray together.